Hello and welcome, my name's Glorious Badger, and in today's video we are painting a Marine from the Dark Angels Legion. Okay, this has been primed black, and we've also got a basic coat of black on there already. It's going to be a very basic video, nothing fancy at all, it's just basically to get it on the tabletop in a good looking fashion. I'm going to be attempting to focus on one particular part of the miniature instead of going all over the place. In this case, we're going to use the leg, and for the colours we're going to use the edge highlighting is Incubi Darkness, Dark Reaper, and Thunderhawk Blue, all from Games Workshop. And we've also got Vallejo Metal Colour Black right here for the ending of it. So we're going to start off with doing some edge highlighting with the Incubi Darkness. We got it flowing quite nicely. We might have to do a couple of layers, but we want to angle the brush so it's at sort of 90 degrees to the edge, and hit it with the side of the brush rather than the point. Obviously, that's not always going to be a viable option. Sometimes you will have to use the point, but this is certainly a quick way to do it. Going to get all the edges that we can on this leg. The back of the leg, etc., etc. I'm going to try and just focus on the right-hand leg there and not go all over the body. So we will be cutting out a fair amount of footage, and I will just be showing the sort of important parts, I guess, is what I should say. A couple of layers are probably going to be required, and if so, we will just cut it out and just move on to the next part once we've done that. Okay, this is Vallejo Metal Colour German Grey. Now, I did decide that before we moved on for more highlighting, I should paint the sort of rubber, I don't know, undersuit under the armor with this grey colour. I will be following that up with a Nuln oil wash, but for now, the German grey is the right colour for us. It's pretty dark grey. It will dry a lot darker as well. And it's the color I use for all of my Space Marine undersuits. As you can see, it's dried somewhat darker. It's looking good already. As you can see, all the edge highlights have been done on this miniature. And we're going to move on to Dark Reaper now. It's also been thinned down a fair amount, and we're also hitting the edges again with the side of the brush where possible. We have to rotate the model a bunch to get some of these angles, so I do apologize. It's not always camera-friendly painting miniatures, but we do our best. And sometimes it even goes out of focus, like right there, which is a terrible shame. However, there we go. Nice and easy. So that is the second edge highlight for this miniature. Now we've got the Nuln oil. I don't use a huge amount of washes or shades these days. However, for these sorts of situations, I will absolutely be using Nuln oil. It gets into the crevices. It tones down the grey a bit further, and it gets us to a nice sort of shade. And I'm not even going to bother highlighting the sort of ridged undersuit at all. I have done in the past, but for a regular trooper, I'm not going to bother. It's going to be fine. And here we've got Thunderhawk Blue, the final sort of edge highlight. That was slightly chunkier than I intended. And that is, you can't even see because that shoulder pad is so massive. However, we are going to make this the finest edge highlighting possible. Like there. That is definitely the easiest bit right there, in my opinion. And trying to get all the bits and pieces that we think are required. And even hopefully paint them on camera. Alright, so there we go. Moving swiftly on, we've got Vallejo Metal Colour Steel. We are going to paint all these little rivets up here. Going to get all these rivets. We've got some other bits and pieces like the shoulder straps or whatever those things are holding his backpack on. And any other little metallic pieces we are going to paint with the steel colour before moving on to the next stage. Sometimes you might need a couple of coats. However, we are going to move on to something else. Mephiston red, Evil Sunz scarlet, Yriel yellow, and Ice yellow. And we got some white as well. We are going to do the eyes. So I'm going to start trying to be somewhat dainty with the brushwork. We're going to work the Mephiston red into the center of the eyes. Not this, well, towards the nose part, the center of the face, I guess. I want to keep a dark outline around the red for now. So occasionally we might need to go back and sketch in with a black bit. Okay, Evil Sunz scarlet. We are going to work that towards the center of the helmet. I called it a face earlier. I meant a helmet. And then we're working from the center back out again. That will hopefully work out the red a bit more. Just like so. I think it's... I mean, I probably could just leave it there if I really wanted to, but apparently not. I'm going to mix a bit of Yriel yellow into the red to make it slightly oranger, and then work from the center of the helmet back out again. I certainly don't want to go too far with this color, but that is what I'm going to do, like right there. Sort of halfway along, I guess, almost. And then I'm going to use pure Yriel yellow. Right. There we go. Oh, yeah, we made slightly too much on there. I might have to refine that later. So, from the center of the helmet. There we go. Oh, yep, stop there. That's the one. Yeah, the left eye, I think, definitely looks better. The right eye, it might need finagling a bit. We do have Vallejo Metal Colour Ice Yellow. We're going to do that as almost a final highlight. Right in the sort of center of the helmet area of the eye lens, I guess. Do that on both sides. Just like that, yeah. That is looking pretty good. I definitely think the left eye looks better. Or as we're looking at it here, the right eye. I did go back and try to get it look a bit similar, as you can see, but it doesn't look quite 100%. But mixed in with another 20 troopers, it's not going to matter. So we've made a glaze up of Mephiston red. This is slightly thicker than intended, I think, because we're painting over black. Well, we're painting technically over a Thunderhawk blue, I guess, but so we will need multiple glazes of this color. We're going to have that on the helmet beneath the eye where the glow would hit. We wait for each layer to dry. We go back and put another layer on. I think that's the third layer I've just put on. This room is pretty warm during the day, so it does dry quite quickly. Is that the third or the fourth? That's the fourth right there. Yeah, it's definitely slightly thicker than normal. But I wasn't too fussed. There we go, I've done both sides. Now this is Evil Sunz scarlet glaze. I'm going to try and be slightly more refined with it. And, well, I failed there a bit. However, we want that in a narrower patch on the Mephiston red glaze that we did before. And then we want to do, this is unfortunately just off camera. This is pure white, just in the very corner of the eye. Or the center of the helmet right there. Unfortunately, it drifted off camera, so that is my fault. However, I'm liking how he's looking. Definitely looking as though he's fresh out of the manufactorum. With no scratches, no scuffs on his armor at all. Very smooth and clean. We're definitely not doing that in this video. We're not also doing Dark Angels iconography or shoulder pad markings on this video. That potentially could be another video. This is just to get it on the tabletop nice and quickly. So, bearing that in mind, we shall move on to the next step, which is painting the secondary highlight on the metal with Scale 75 Thrash metal. And we're going to hopefully paint on camera. We are going to paint the rivets, the sort of top half, like right there, as you just about saw on camera. We are going to get the bits of the, I don't know, strapping there. We're going to get the bit of metal over the stomach. Unfortunately, most of this drifted off camera. I'd moved the camera and it's forgotten that it needed to be positioned back correctly. So, do our best to sort of get that thrash metal where we need it. And then we're going to use Vallejo Metal Colour Aluminium or Aluminum. And we're going to do just the bits facing vertically sort of upwards. So the tops of those rivets right there. You can see how bright it is. I like that. I think it works. We're also going to get the circular bit there and that strapping there as well. I am repeating this on the backpack as well, but you don't need to see that. It's just replication of this thing. I mean, it would be nice to see that. I suppose getting it on camera would be a help. All right. So here we go. Bolt gun. I will have linked to another video by now. That is Warpstone Glow and Necrotite Green. If you don't have Necrotite Green from P3, you can use Moot Green and get a very similar effect. So we're just painting these 3 cables on the power armor. Sort of one on the outer leg and one on the sort of inner thigh and then one on the by the foot right there. So a couple of layers of Warpstone Glow is all that's really needed. And then we can move on to the next bit. Fortunately, yeah, we had major issues there. So there we go, Warpstone Glow. Moving on to the Moot Green or Necrotite Green in this case. And we're just sort of painting the, I don't know, upward facing surfaces really with this colour. I'm not entirely sure what they're supposed to be. However, I don't know, glowy cables. It works for me really, so I'm happy. And yeah, that's all there is to it really, that one. Slightly blurry there. Needs a bit more paint there. Okay, the bolter. Lovely jubbly. Okay, so this is a Dark Angel. It could easily be mistaken for a Raven Guard or an Iron Hand, so I think the best way to change that is painting the bolter a red. Certainly used to be a brighter red, but I wanted something a bit darker. So we went with Khorne red in this case to not look like a Christmas tree. So we're just going to get a couple of good coats of Khorne red on this before we move on to further edge highlighting of this. You obviously don't have to paint it red. I was in 2 minds, but then I remembered Raven Guard. We're all sneaky, so we could go black bolters for those. So there we go. We're going to do some edge highlighting with Mephiston red. It's going to get that brush loaded up with the paint and run the edge along the edges. Or the side of the brush along the edges. Try and get some edge highlighting done. We're going to get all along the side of the bolters. Across the sort of width of the bolter as well. All the sorts of edges to kind of get things more obvious. Get that little bit there. Lovely jubbly. There we go. Obviously, you can spend much more time on this. This is getting it quickly on the tabletop. We're going to use Evil Sunz Scarlet just as a final highlight. We're going to get a tiny bit more of these edges just to make them stand out a little bit more. Just like so. All right, you can spend as much time as you want on these, obviously, but they're only quick tabletop. Standard. Trying to get along there. Don't forget to go sort of across the width of the bolter. I almost completely forgot. Well, thankfully, I remembered at the last second. And that's all there is to it, really. I'm going to chop that off the sprue. And then attach it to the Marine. And here we go. The finished Dark Angels Tactical Marine. Do not forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. And in next week's video, we'll be doing Emperor's Children Legion. So hopefully I shall see you in the next one. In the meantime, thank you very much for hanging out with me today. Don't forget to share this with your friends if you think they might enjoy it. And I shall see you in the next one. Thank you and goodbye.